Welcome to yet another edition of Red Carpet to Trailer Trash. My name is Ian Collins, and joining me as always is the Han Solo to my Luke Skywalker.
I guess.
Such I gave you the good one, too.
That's.
It's Mr. Connor Rock, by the way.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's me. I'm sorry I was unenthusiastic. I've been sick recently, so if I sound different, that might be why. If I sound unenthused, that's not why. It was just because that was. You know what? That was a great intro. Thanks for giving me Han. Are we talking about Star Wars today? Is that what this is
You're
about?
welcome. Yes, that is a fun intro that we will actually be doing a review of Star Wars.
And it's
Uh,
nuts because I saw the movie. Granted, it's been out for like
it's
3 weeks, but I saw the
yes.
movie.
So that is why we did a year in review, decade in review sort of special last episode because we needed to give a chance to the co-host to actually see a movie for once, as it was in the cards.
I've seen a movie in 2020 already, so I'm done for the year. I think it's not gonna happen
Oh
again,
no! Oh no!
unless
You're not gonna go see like the Marvel movies?
I mean, we can talk about this. Honestly, I might start. I'm starting to slowly cash out of the Marvel universe. They did the whole Infinity arc, and now I don't think I'll care until they're gonna hook me with something. But I'm just like I don't know. I'm over it.
Are you saying that Captain Marvel's new prevalence in the series isn't what's going to get you hooked?
Is that a thing? She's gonna be more prevalent.
I have no idea. I just know I fucking hated that movie.
No, that's not good. I'll continue to see Spider-Man because I like Spider-Man. It's my favorite superhero. And then other than that, I don't know. I'll catch them like when they come on Disney Plus.
Catch them on the flip side.
Yeah, I just
How is Disney Plus, by the way?
we've only watched The Mandalorian on it, and then I think The Princess Diaries. I don't know. Kate gets it through her like cell
How
phone.
many times has Kate watched The Princess Diaries?
I think twice. So not a whole lot, but granted, it's been like 2 months.
Is that the first Princess Diaries or both Princess Diaries?
I think the first one twice, and we have not watched the second one yet.
And you call yourselves a fan?
She may have. I don't know. I have not been privy to it, but it's nice.
Okay. Yeah, Anne Hathaway is a national treasure.
Yeah.
And
I agree, wholeheartedly agree. And Mia Thermopylae or whatever.
excuse
He
me?
was like Thermopolis or Crumbopolis.
Crombopulous Michael?
Yeah, like here she goes killing again. Princess Diaries 3.
I just love killing.
But I would. The Mandalorian's really good. If you ever are in the market for some Disney Plus, you can. It's all out now. Season 1, you can get your 7-day free. Here's a little hack for you. You can get your 7-day free trial, just binge it, and then call it a day.
See, I could do that, but I am actually I have so many other shows on streaming platforms that I actually already pay for that I need to watch that doing so at this point just seems silly.
That's fair. But yeah, it's pretty good. It lives up to the hype. I don't know. Baby Yoda wasn't as. I don't. I get it. Like I get why the internet's freaking out about it, but it wasn't. That's not really up my alley. I was like, yeah, it's a cute little thing, but I'm here to watch some Mandalorian nonsense.
Yep, watching Assassin.
Yeah, bounty hunter. I,
Whatever.
I think it should be more violent, but that might be because I just got off The Witcher and then went straight to The
How was
Mandalorian.
that?
Honestly, I loved it. I thought it
Okay,
exceeded
so before
expectations.
if let's save this discussion for the end when we do a recommendation corner.
Oh shit, are we still okay? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. I don't see any reason not to. The fans deserve to have good recommendations, don't they?
Have we decided it can be plural yet? I think there might be two what am I looking for? Loyal viewers, repeat viewers.
I don't know.
Because
I know that I'm not one of
we
them.
had listener for a while, and now I think there's 2 listeners. So we will find you.
Are you threatening the people that are actually supporting us?
If they were actually supporting us, they could support us a little better by, distributing this.
Hey guys, you should really listen to these 2 idiots talk about movies. One of them only kind of knows what he's talking about. The other is completely clueless.
I am changing the Twitter bio for the podcast Twitter. Probably to that quote. All right, let's.
That's a that's a good a description as any. So let's dive on in.
Yeah,
But first, I'll give a preview of a teaser, a little taste of what we'll be doing today. Obviously, I already stated that we'll be discussing and reviewing the Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars Episode 9.
And I guess we will say this here. I'll say it. We didn't really discuss this, so if you want to veto it, it's fine. There will be spoilers. Because I feel like if I've seen the movie, you should have seen it by now, too.
I am going to stand on that point, yes. Then the previews we'll get into will be for Like a Boss, Underwater, and 1917. Alright, so Connor, since this is the rare occurrence, how about you kick us off and tell us what you thought of the movie this time?
Oh boy, Star Wars Episode 7, 8, 9. That's how trilogies work. 9.
Also, that's how listening to your co-host works.
Did you already say it was Episode 9?
Yes, I did.
Oh shit. Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. I gotta say, I went in with expectations pretty low after The Last Jedi. If you don't know my thoughts on that, go listen to the other episode. They're not great.
We spent quite some time talking about it.
Tearing that movie apart. So I went into this movie with very low expectations, and I gotta say I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it, and I would venture to say, and don't hold on because it's gonna sound crazy. Don't interrupt me though, because there's a caveat here. I would say it's probably one of the best Star Wars films if you don't think about it too much.
That is a great way of describing it, because when I was actually sitting there, fun fact, this is the first Star Wars movie I've ever watched in theaters.
Oh yeah.
And if nothing else, I would 100% recommend watching Star Wars films in theaters if given the opportunity, because it was just such a completely different experience. I think that it's something that you really the opening crawl gave me goosebumps.
Oh really? I guess because that's
yeah.
the first time you've seen it like that, presented that way.
I also saw it in Dolby Vision at Tyson's AMC. Which is my preferred way to see movies because it's fucking awesome.
Let's pretend I don't know what that is. What is Dolby Vision?
Okay, so you know how there's IMAX, which is just a laser screen. It's like higher definition. You can basically see more intensely on the screen.
Yeah.
Well, Dolby Vision has improved sound quality and also has starker contrast, so it's probably not as good as IMAX visually, but the sound quality is top notch, and it does have an improved visibility and color contrast and lighting and all of that stuff.
All right, now I know. Sounds good.
Yeah. It's if you do not have the AMC A list, then it costs you an extra $5 to see it in IMAX or Dolby.
The A list is a thing that you get do you get unlimited movies or how X amount of
3 movies per week.
Okay. So that's a lot of movies.
Yep, I have more than got my money back every month.
Yeah. They did one, we saw it in a Regal, and they advertised they have one that's unlimited a year, but it's $30 a month, $20 a month, I don't know. It seemed like if you see a lot of movies, it's an okay deal. but I would be wasting $20.
Well, I mean, the big thing is, at least in my area, since I live, the closest one to where I live is the Tyson's one. Just the average movie there is $15.
Oh
So
yeah.
if it's only $22 a month, then it's literally cheaper for me to do that and then paying for 2 movies on their own.
Yeah, so if you see 2 movies, it pays for itself. You don't even have to go to the 3.
Exactly.
Oh, and that's a month too. So you can get up to 12 movies a month.
Yes, I can,
this is-
and I have before. And boy, I saw some shitty fucking movies. As you could imagine, based upon the movies we've discussed on the show.
Did you ever see Cats?
No, it's on my list. I'm gonna try and go
Oh, really?
either this week or this weekend.
Nice. All right. If you don't ever get to Cats, like before it gets out of theaters, we're gonna watch it together.
Oh no!
Maybe just record that. Maybe not record that.
That's our live podcast. Is we just meet up and watch. I've heard my biggest concern though is I've heard it's just boring. Like after the first 10 minutes of the effect, that you just lose interest because it's just not there. Nothing's really happening.
I'd believe it, but I can't comment on it. I would think there's a million problems with that movie more than it's boring before you get to it's boring, but
that reminds me. Well, 2 things. One, you do know that the plot to it is literally just cats introducing themselves, right?
I'm sorry, what?
That is the plot of the film. Is just cats introducing themselves.
Is that why there's like 4 billion people? Because they filled like 2 hours with just introductions?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, God. Alright, well.
But also, last night, did you see the opening monologue from Ricky Gervais for the Golden Globes?
No, I've seen, a lot of people have like shared it, but I haven't got around to watching it yet.
I would 100% recommend it. He had this joke about Dame Judi Dench that made me just fucking lose it. He also said, and also this year, we got a chance to see James Corden as a giant pussy. He was also in Cats, which nobody saw.
I'll have to check it out. But yeah, it being boring is probably, I mean, that's the same problem I have with the last Star Wars movie, and we'll segue back into what we're supposed to be talking about, which is the Star Wars. And I gotta say,
yes.
So this one, definitely not boring. Like I said, like, if you take it at face value, I think it was a good movie.
If you don't examine it at all, it was entertaining. Except, one thing that bothered me as I was watching it was how cheap the lightning effects looked with the Emperor.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It just, like, the lightning shooting out of his hands as it was going to, like, into the sky to catch all the ships attacking, all the rebel ships. It just looked so cheap. It looked like it was out of the 1970s.
I honestly didn't notice. Maybe that was the Dolby Vision or whatever that let you see that. I mean, I thought it looked okay, but I
like the one when Rey did it, it was fine. Towards the end of the first act.
Yeah.
But when it was the Emperor, strangely enough, it was just not great.
Huh. I'll have to reevaluate that. But yeah, how about let's go through, because I do want to voice a lot of complaints about the movie, even though
we're gonna do our weekly Festivus, the airing of grievances.
Yeah, we're gonna just yell about a few things real quick. And feel free to chime in. I was going to kind of go through the movie, like, start to finish.
Okay, that works.
This is the bullshit.
I'm going to let you take the lead on this because, it's a rare territory.
Oh, God. There's that illness. We'll cut that out, probably not. Early on, I know you said, like, you got goosebumps with the opening crawl, and I get that because, like, the music, the visuals of it. But I just felt like what they wrote, like it took them like maybe 2 minutes and was very lazy and like...
Oh, yeah, no.
They were like...
The exposition... Well, I mean, yes, but also like the episode 1, it was talking about fucking trade policy and the intergalactic Senate and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was maybe a little too in-depth and dumb there. Oh, okay. That brings me. We didn't talk about this in the Star Wars episode, but so I want to say this trilogy, the last part of this or this last trilogy versus like the first one, if you want to compare the two, because a lot of people shit on the first one, rightfully so. But I think what makes them stand apart is the first one was at least like kind of about something. Like it was about Palpatine manipulating those trade. It had a purpose for how he became Empire, and then like obviously it was also about Anakin's journey to becoming Darth Vader. So while that stuff was weird
Yes.
and boring, it still served a purpose in the overall arc. I think this movie proved that with this last trilogy, they had no idea what they wanted to do with it. They just
Oh, have you not heard the Have you not heard the stories that came out? I thought that I brought it up in the Star Wars episode. They legitimately had no plan going into it, and just sort of thought they'd do this weird handoff routine where they just be like, "Well, JJ, you wanted to do this, okay? So now instead of trying to leave the entire trilogy with you, so that we have one full cogent story, we're gonna hand it off to Ryan Johnson. Don't forget, there's still that that like 10% chance that Ryan Johnson actually was trying to
is the sleeper, yeah.
as a sleeper agent that was trying to destroy the Star Wars franchise."
I said it in the Star Wars episode, and I'll say it again. I believe that. I would sooner believe that than he was like, "This is a good movie."
Mm,
But yeah, so like, I think this movie plus maybe like a select 20 minutes of the other two, that's essentially this whole trilogy. Because this was the whole plot, and you saw that in the beginning where they like purposely went out of their way to show Kylo Ren just like slaughtering people to really drive the point home that like, well, yeah, he had that whole realization last time about like good and evil doesn't really matter, light dark side doesn't really matter, the Jedi and Sith are all kind of bullshit. And then like in this one they had to make sure that we knew he was the bad guy again, as he's just like killing people to find the map to Palpatine or whatever. So they really I think a lot of the problems I have with the movie are because they had to undo the damage of the Last Jedi.
yep.
I mean, there's some like smaller, shitty writing, shitty mistakes, but I think the majority of it is they were left in such an awkward place, with no no direction at all. I mean, and this is kind of back to what I was saying about how the first trilogy was at least about something, and then this one, I mean, how I didn't realize it at the time because we talked about this in the Star Wars episode. I liked the Force Awakens when it happened, but like, how big of a slap to the face is it to the middle trilogy that the out of everything, all the EU, the New Republic, all the material they could have used, their storyline was like, well, the Empire is back, so it's the exact same shit. Nothing.
Yep, basically everything that happened in Return of the Jedi meant nothing. It was a complete waste of time. Your sacrifices were worthless. You all failed.
Yeah. So like, and they started out with this, and then I don't know. We're getting into the too much of all the movies now. So we'll go back a little bit more focused to that to Skywalker. But I don't know. I thought that was worth mentioning. Um, and then I don't know. Other than that, I thought in the beginning there's a lot of exposition, a lot of, like I said, undoing the mistakes, or undoing their position from the Last Jedi. And then somewhere in it, I don't know, I got on board. Like I thought it was a pretty solid movie. It got, it made me feel the things I was supposed to feel during it. Like when she like heals Kylo, I was like, this is a big moment, and we finally got that like team up we wanted, which should have maybe happened in the last one, but we won't go into that.
Mm-hmm.
One big problem I did have with that though is he was very like dark side focused, being like his whole spiel was like given to the dark side, whatever. Like you have rage like me, given to the dark side, and then based on what happened in the last movie, it should have been more along the lines of like light and dark side doesn't matter. Just like join me and we can rule. Which would have been a much more compelling argument than making him shift to like dark side's number one fan and would have let him stay. I don't know why they did that.
I don't know why Ryan Johnson did almost anything he did in that fucking movie.
Well, honestly, that like Kylo Ren's disposition towards like it doesn't fucking matter. I liked that, but now they just like they undid that.
Yep.
And maybe it was to, like make him seem more of a bad guy to make like the ending or his turn seem more important. But I feel like everybody saw that
Well, I mean, it
coming.
could have been. It could have been essentially having been denied by Rey that he just resorted back to what he knew, which was the dark side.
I guess. I mean that's I guess, but I don't know. I'd be such a strong advocate of it. And then I don't know. Do you have anything for like the middle of the movie? I thought it was. I don't know. I like the most of it. More of my criticisms come at like the ending.
Yeah, the two things, and it was pointed out to me. I believe that force heal is a thing like in the EU,
Yeah.
like in the but I'm pretty sure that that has not come up in literally any of the other Star Wars films. So if you didn't realize, if you haven't read anything in the extended universe or like played the games or something, then you had no idea. This is the first time you've ever seen anyone break out force heal, and it raises the question of how the fuck did Rey learn that just on her
Oh,
own?
okay. I think a lot of people have voiced this problem, but I had it at the same time, or I had it as well. But Rey just all of a sudden became like the literally the most powerful Jedi we've ever seen on the screen.
And this is my biggest criticism of the entire story arc that was made, and mostly it was a big problem I had in Force Awakens. It's still a big problem here, but not as big of a problem. It's the fact that Rey is the epitome of a Mary Sue character,
What?
and you don't
I
know what a
don't know
Mary
what that
Sue is.
is.
Do you? A Mary Sue character is an empowering female character that is for no reason at all better than every other character at everything that she attempts to do. She already basically understands how to do everything. There is no training. Like, sure, she can train to get better, but she can already do. She's already capable enough at everything that she will encounter essentially any problem or challenge she encounters. She will overcome it because she is that great.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's exactly what she was, and because I
I mean, the once again, this goes back to episode 7, but she beat Kylo Ren, who is the leader of the First Order, in a fucking lightsaber duel. Within like a day of finding out that she could use a lightsaber.
yeah. Yeah, she should have gotten the same treatment like Finn did, like get a backslash or whatever. I absolutely agree, and it just I don't know. It's dumb how they did that. The timing doesn't really make sense. If you look at the last two episodes, like she did not have time to train and learn all that. You just like see her floating with some rocks, and then
Well, what's the time frame? We have no idea what the time frame
well,
was.
I mean, between the second one takes place right after the first, and then that takes like a day. So I mean, I doubt that there's been more than like a couple weeks between the second one and the third one, between Jedi and Skywalker.
See, that's what I would think, but then there's the fact that like how did that just emphasizes my point even more that she went from not knowing that she had any sort of midichlorians.
Oh no, those have been outlawed. They're gone.
She went from not realizing she was a Jedi to being more powerful than Luke or Darth Vader ever were in a period of like a month.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like there was not enough time for the training, but we were just supposed to be like, well, Leia trained her, and she can float with these rocks now, and then she can do the flippy and cut the wing off Kylo Ren's thing, and she can force heal, and she can use Jedi mind trick just super goddamn effectively. And well, I guess she kind of did that one in the first one.
Yeah, no, that one I wasn't too like. That one I was fine with. That, as I understand it, that one would probably be one of the more reasonable
But
expectations.
just then, just all of it put together, and just like how she just was overpowered just for the sake of like plot.
Yeah, I mean, just the epitome of it is she was born, and granted, I'll be honest, I'm stealing this criticism, this specific example, from another podcast I listened to, the Sub Beacon, but she was born and raised on a desert planet. She has left that planet, and once again, it's been like a month. She left that planet. She now finds herself on the moon of Endor. And the waves are too dangerous for the fucking locals to be able to traverse in a glider. But don't worry, this chick who has literally never seen one of these boats before is going to know how to use it so effectively she'll get to the Death Star's remains
I,
without having any
I
problem.
didn't even think about that, but yeah, she just picked up fucking sailing, even though she was raised on desert. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's what I mean. A lot of it really doesn't make sense if you think about it. Um, and I just, well, also the same kind of that part of the movie. The did you like how they justified the stupid fucking horses
No, what was it?
when they were like jam their speeders? Like they aren't using speeders. Like glad you threw in that line. Otherwise, bringing the horses would be stupid as shit.
Well, it still was. How the fuck is anyone breathing at that point?
Yeah, they're
They're all,
riding horses in like lower atmosphere.
they're not even in the lower atmosphere. They're outside of the atmosphere on the base of the ship.
I thought they
Like
were
why?
hovering like on the atmosphere or like in atmosphere because that was why they had to disable the whatever beacon because the ships they built this secret army of really sophisticated ships but didn't let them take off by themselves. That was a really stupid part too, using like the master kill switch. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were still in atmosphere because otherwise they could have
Okay,
left.
but then there's like how I'll be willing to accept like that there's enough gravitational pull from the ship that they didn't just start floating off. But my God, that was just one of the laziest. Like, granted, it's only people who actually examine it and think about it that are like, how did the gravity or any sort of science associated with this work? But still, there's no way that any of those people would be fucking alive after being on the surface of a ship in the outer atmosphere.
Yeah, but they were riding. They brought the horses because you had to have. I don't know. Finn had to find friends who were deserters as well. But
Yep.
thanks to those friends, and
You know what the concerning part is? And I cared more about the fucking chick he met on that planet than I did about fucking
I was just
Rose.
gonna say that. I was gonna say we should switch to some good aspects of the movie, and it was that Rose wasn't in it very much.
I don't know. I have no idea who that black chick on that planet was, but I cared more about her story and who she was than I did about Rose for a fucking
I
second.
absolutely agree with you. I thought they introduced her, and I was like, oh, this is a new love interest. Rose is out of here. Here's a point
Uh
that
huh.
Kate brought up. What was Finn gonna tell Ray? Do we ever get to know?
See. This is a thing I've heard people theorize that it's about how he's in love with Ray,
I mean, I'd
which
assume that's
which
kind of what
makes
I thought,
sense.
but that
But the way he was doing it and the way he was able to basically like understand people, they were just basically throwing in our face. Yeah, Fenn. He also has force powers, just cuz.
yeah, I forgot about that. So I don't know.
That was my least favorite thing about this movie.
Even okay,
Was because it so did not need to happen.
I will.
Not every major fucking character needs to have the force.
Okay, that's fair, but they have sort of hinted at that, at least in the seven.
Did they? I don't remember that in
I don't know.
Seven.
I mean, like, I think there's like small nods to it, and then like he's the one that primarily uses the lightsaber. So you're like, maybe this guy, like, he does hold his own against Kylo for like 4 or 5 seconds.
Well, that's more about the fact that he was trained as a stormtrooper to fight.
That could, I get that maybe, but I wasn't super surprised when that happened. But if you're gonna
Well, the
say,
thing, and once again, this goes back to the Ryan Johnson thing and the fact and the idea that, well, it was never even suggested or referenced once in the Last Jedi.
yeah,
So I didn't even remember that there was any suggestion of it in the Force
I
Awakens.
don't. I think we should go on change.org and start a petition to just jettison the Last Jedi. Just everyone destroy every copy of it, and we'll act like it
There's a
never happened.
surprisingly large number of people that actually thoroughly enjoyed the Last
I
Jedi.
know they're all dumb. They're all dumb and wrong. And if you're one of those people listening, you're dumb and wrong. I'll stand by that. Come fight me.
I stand 100% by the fact that just because something is popular does not make it good.
All right. So I do want to say, you said that that was your least favorite part of the movie that didn't need to happen. Are you including the kiss in that?
Which kiss?
The
Oh, that.
Kylo Ren Rey kiss.
Well, I don't care. Oh wait, the Kylo Ren Rey kiss.
Yeah.
When did that happen? There at the end?
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it didn't need to happen. It was more kind of for the stupider fans in the audience that couldn't figure out that that's where that was going.
Yeah, well,
Like
as soon as he healed her and like she woke up and looked at him, I was just like, don't kiss, please don't kiss. And then it happened.
I didn't have a problem with it because it seemed very clear that that was sort of a building. I would have preferred if they just sort of left the tension there.
Yeah, what do you mean it's been building? They've been trying to kill each other the whole time, and now all of a sudden there's like romantic feelings.
It's he's the idea that there's just something else out there being the only reason that Kylo Ren didn't just fucking massacre Rey at any of the other points throughout the series, throughout the trilogy, makes perfect sense.
I
Because it's
guess.
the only explanation for why he wouldn't have completely fucked her up. And it's also an explanation for why he would turn on Snoke, is because he sees her as basically someone that could be his equal, and so someone that he could actually. Uh, and like, he does still have that sort of guilt associated with killing all the Jedi, and so it's sort of a not like retribution sort of thing.
I guess. I still thought it was just kind of cringy.
It's not. It wasn't necessary. I definitely think that they should have like just had it instead of actually having the kiss. They should have just had a longer. Me, the non-film student, think that they should have had more of like something that accentuated the tension, where they maybe got closer and closer, and it looked like it was going to happen, and then the fact that he used all of his energy
Oh yeah, I
hit
agree.
him
That would have
right
been a
before.
lot better, and then he would have died that way.
Yes.
All right, so we are going kind of long on this, but I do have a few more things I want to say. I'll try to hit them quick, and then give you this chance to do the same.
Okay, can we do a quick alternate? I have two more things that immediately come to my mind. So I'll do one, and then you can do another one, and we can just keep switching on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What the fuck was that audience for Emperor Palpatine?
That's
What was going on there?
that's his like secret army of cultists that build a fleet of the most powerful starships underground in secret over how long that he just pulled up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh wait, is that the point that you wanted to bring up next? Because we can start talking about that next.
No, I mean that was one of them for sure, and we'll just roll these into into each other. But I'm pretty sure that was like all like the engineers and the people who fixed Ren's helmet, and the people who built these just like more Death Stars.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, and this is just a fun question, where did he get the people to man those 10,000 ships? Because remember that they said that this would increase the power of the First Order's fleet by 10,000 by a factor of 10,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
he said
I'm
something like
going to
that.
just assume that each ship is apparently, like, just instead of assuming that there's 10,000 times as many of those ships as existing ships, I'm just going to assume that, like, each of those ships
It's 10,000
is like,
times stronger.
yeah.
I,
But even then, say that there's like 1,000 people you need on each of those ships. We saw there were a couple hundred in the sky at least.
yeah.
Where did he get those people
I
from?
have no idea. Kate brought that up.
It's a hidden planet. Where did he get the resources to build those ships?
Yeah, like what? Who wasn't paying attention that just let all this very sophisticated equipment be ordered by like? And he's definitely not using his real name, and just come to this place that doesn't exist on any maps.
And then there's the idea of, like, were they just doing the Futurama Egyptian planet episode where anytime someone would deliver anything, then they would be enslaved, and that's how they would do it?
I mean, we'd have to assume so. Otherwise, someone would come back and be like, "There's some real fucking weird shit going on over here."
Not to mention how quickly, like, it took them years and years and years to build the fucking Death Star. But this entire fleet of massive ships with the capability, all with the capability of the Death Star, he was able to get done in 20 years, 30 years?
Something along those lines. And also, because they built him underground, and he like pulled him out of the ground with the Force or whatever.
Yeah.
This is just a numbers game, but some of them shouldn't have worked. Like, we should have seen some. This is a very small problem I had, but like, you're telling me everyone was perfect flight ready after being built in a cave? We should have seen some like malfunctions. With a batch that size, that's just gonna be that's a truth. But yeah, Palpatine's inclusion and his whole story arc in this one don't make any sense, and that's pretty much where the rest of my grievances are. I will say real quick, back to Rey's like overpoweredness. It seems like they kind of try to write that off with like being like, "Oh, you're a Palpatine," which was just dumb as shit because that overwrites the whole like notion of the first two that were like, "It doesn't matter what your name is, you're a Jedi," and then they're like,
well, I
"Fuck you,
don't know.
jokes."
I feel like J.J. Abrams may have been building to that, and Ryan Johnson just was like, "Fuck
yeah,
that."
that's true. I guess Abrams could have had that all along because.
I did prefer the idea of her just being a random person, because even if you do have the power of Palpatine, like, you still need to have some level of training to know how to use any of that.
Yeah.
So I have three more problems. One, the Kylo Ren's guard, like the 6 people, have they been in every movie?
They were briefly shown in the first one, and I don't think they were in the second one.
Because they were awesome, and I wish that they had been explored more. Because I think
every other goddamn person, everyone wanted more of the Knights of Ren. That's arguably probably the coolest part of Kylo Ren's like backstory, or whatever his weird name is in the EU. It's not Ben. It's like, what's that, Kalen? His name's Jason. Okay, so it's not better.
It's fine.
But
I mean, who fucking cares? It's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I thought it was like some weird alien name, but it's arguably the coolest part of like his like story arcs, his backstory, whatever. And they just kind of threw him into this movie. They didn't do a whole lot, and then he killed them all.
Yeah, and then so that one really annoyed me. I also was very annoyed by the hand-wavy bullshit that, he must have Emperor Palpatine must have just sort of survived. Fucking how?
Yeah, like, and then he was making clones of everything that happened in this underground planet, hidden planet, whatever it's called, made no sense. Like, you had
everything about the Emperor Palpatine portion made no sense. Rey being able to just stop him by having a second lightsaber, like, fucking what?
And then also, where you can just force suck out people's souls. Like, did he travel to Hogwarts and meet a Dementor and was like, "I'm gonna get you now"? Like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, that too.
And
yeah.
Why were they two parts of the same soul? Or whatever bullshit that was. Like, why were Rey and Kylo like a diode in the Force?
My guess is going to be the fact that there was Anakin Skywalker was being trained by Palpatine, and so there's just sort of this believed to be this
So
connection in the
they have
Force.
like the same spirit, whatever force entity, soul, whatever they called it, because Vader and Palpatine were buds. Like, is
Dude,
that?
I'm not saying it's a good explanation. That's just the explanation I got out of it.
That was some bullshit. And then also, what is it like? Okay, so she shows up to kill Palpatine, and then he just whips out the biggest goddamn loophole in the history of like loopholes and be like, "If you kill me, you're a Sith, and I'll possess your body." And she was like, "Oh
Yeah, the
shit, what do
whole
I do?"
I start possessing you bullshit. The entire third act plot wise was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I will say though that I still like with The Last Jedi loved everything that was Kylo Ren and Rey, sort of like the weird connection that they had where they could force talk to each other
yeah.
in each other's
And this one
location.
like force fight even. I
Yeah.
I agree that that is the only kind of overarching plot of the last trilogy, and pretty much the only interesting part too is Kylo and Rey's like relationship.
And I thought that they did it really well. I think that they could have done a better job with that final scene, but otherwise, I thought it worked out perfectly. Sort of, just going along the entire way. Um, Finn and Poe, I thought showed a little bit of chemistry where they should have actually had time spent together and developed sort of a buddy buddy type of thing. May have made me actually give a shit about either of their characters if it had been done from the outset. But instead, I just haven't cared about them at all because they like if they would have basically they met in the seventh episode 7 if they would have developed it, and once again this is just one of those things where it's trying to right the wrongs that came with
The Last
uh
Jedi.
Last
Yeah.
Jedi. But if they would have like built that relationship further in The Last Jedi, and then it was more present in this the Rise of Skywalker, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there, and that's one thing I noticed when watching it. I felt like the camaraderie, like you said, there was something there, and I actually like I liked their interactions. They felt genuine, but at the same time, like they just kind of came out of nowhere in this movie.
Yep. Then two, they were. It was very obvious, like trying to do emotional manipulation with the whole C-3PO saying goodbye to his
Oh
friends,
yeah,
the pretending to kill Chewie. Maybe an unpopular opinion. I don't know how. I haven't really explored it. They should have killed Chewie in that instance.
I kind of agree. I thought that would have been a good like much more motivation for why it would make sense more that Rey would like immediately go to Luke's island and start pouting. Like she went into exile faster than any other Jedi had gone into exile. Like when Yoda and Luke did it and Obi-Wan did it, they were they like took some time, but she was like, "Nah, fuck this, I'm done," and then threw a hissy fit on an island. And had she actually
Yep.
killed Chewie, would have made a lot more sense.
Yes.
But yeah, keep going. I think I'm all out of grievances. I'm not sure. I'll probably think of some in the future, but we'll.
I'm trying to think through everything that happened. Um, Oh, a positive. I would love to see what was going on at that Alien Burning Man festival.
That place looked dope.
Looks
And
so cool.
I guess that is a good positive to bring up. I enjoyed the environments. Like they all felt very authentic. Again,
Yes.
true to like Star Wars, going to alien planets, seeing the wildlife. We got a little bit of practical effects mixed with CGI, like the Force Awakens had. Force Awakened, yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy that, and I liked the adventure they went on this time. Like even during the casino heist part of the Last Jedi, I was like, this is boring. I don't
Yes.
care about these fucking horses.
Nope.
But this one they managed. I liked it. They did a lot better job with that.
Uh, the what? How did the Leia thing? What? How did Leia end up dying again in
She
this?
like used all her energy to talk to Kylo so Rey could stab him, but then disappeared after he disappeared. So I have a theory. It's not a great one, but so if Palpatine can possess people, maybe Leia could too, and it was really Leia that kissed Rey, and that's my theory. I don't think it's a real theory, but I think it's worth acknowledging.
What's the Ray's actress name? Daisy something?
Ridley, I think,
Daisy Ridley.
or
Yeah.
what's the Believe It or Not, Ripley? Yeah, so it's the other
Oh,
one, Ridley.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So I would totally be down for a slave Leia making out with Ray session.
I don't.
That's what you were trying to suggest,
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly what I was getting at. Oh shit! All right, do you have more thoughts, or we should try to truck through these trailers real quick?
I think we should switch over to the trailers. Let's start with so now that we've vented about Star Wars for like a total of 2 hours on these podcasts. um let's get into Like a Boss.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts about this movie, other than most every part of the trailer annoyed me. I think it will probably be an okay movie with a lot of funny parts, but the plot has been done. I don't know. This seems like it's like following in lieu of Bridesmaids, which is maybe why I don't like it so much because
I'm sorry, isn't this just Horrible Bosses 2 but without the kidnapping?
I never saw the second one, so maybe.
It's literally where they expect an investment and then they get bought out from underneath
Oh,
it
so yes.
by a rich, yeah.
Yes, it
So
is.
but the only difference is that instead of they get back in a different manner. So Tiffany Haddish just bothers me. I can understand why people find her funny, but I do not. She like her shtick got old after the first movie I saw her in, and it's just still there.
Okay.
And it just doesn't entertain me. Rose Byrne is a great supporting like comedian in these movies, but I can't imagine her being like in one of the leading
Yeah, I
roles.
was gonna say that. I
Like
do like Rose Byrne.
like I really enjoyed her in Neighbors,
Yeah.
but I don't. But when her counter, like her opposite, is Tiffany Haddish, I'm not sure how much I'm going to actually enjoy this. Because I feel like there's just going to be a bunch of lazy jokes about how white she is and
Probably.
how uncool and stuff. And that just, I just don't care about that. Salma Hayek is great. And unfortunately, the only appealing thing about this entire movie.
She's like the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just gonna feel recycled. The whole all of it will just it'll just feel like you're watching a less good movie of like four other movies you've seen before.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't look. It doesn't look especially original. It doesn't look especially funny. It just looks like it would be an annoying way for me to spend 3 hours or an hour and a half to 2 hours.
No, yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, that's really all I got for that. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's not exactly a thought-evoking trailer, to be sure. I mean, it's just so lazy. um, so next, speaking of lazy, Underwater.
Okay, so I want to say that I really want to like this movie. It's kind of, and hear me out, kind of an original horror thriller concept we haven't seen in a while. It might be
I mean, maybe in
Alien.
a while. It's my concern is yes, it's like Alien. The one that I was gonna say is it reminds me of The Descent,
Yeah, yeah, or The Descent, or
but
like,
instead of it being in a cave, it's underwater.
which I think is a pretty cool setting. Like, underwater is spooky as fuck, I
I
think.
mean, yeah, like it's not super original, but like it's hard to find super original things in horror.
I like the
So I'm not
idea.
I'm Yeah, I'm not gonna fault it too much on that.
Yeah, of like because it's kind of like Godzilla's plotline too. Like they drill down and something comes out of like the cracks in the ocean or whatever the hell it is, or maybe it just lived down there. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy crap in the ocean. So I like it in theory, but everything in that trailer from like the dive suits to the you get a lot of looks at the creatures or creature or whatever. So that makes me not so optimistic about how it's gonna go. Because if you're just showing that kind of crap, I don't think you're gonna have like an actual plot line to hold people's attention. And I don't know, like a lot of other things just kind of made me. I don't think it's gonna be very good, but I do appreciate the idea.
I appreciate the attempt, but my biggest concern is how do they make this into? I'm actually gonna look up the full length, how long it is. But how do they make this into a full length film? It seems like the introduction, unless they want to bore me to fucking tears, it should be done within the first 20 or so minutes.
Oh yeah, they should be in term. Yeah, 20 minutes is the
20,
long end of that.
20
I
or
think.
30, 20 or 30 minutes for it to get to the point that there's actually sort of a problem arising. And so let's just it's okay, good news, it's an hour and 35 minutes, which makes sense based
Yeah,
upon
that seems right.
everything. Um
I will say.
the
Oh no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Um okay, I suppose I will. Uh but even with that, like it's so say that there's like the 20 or 30, like based upon how it ends up, it doesn't. Shouldn't they all just get real fucked up by whatever that thing is that's attacking them? Literally immediately as soon as they get into those dive suits.
Yeah, probably unless they're like super reinforced or something. But yeah, because
So
they're on its turf, the bottom of the ocean.
exactly, especially if there's multiple of them, which I thought was the
Yeah,
case.
it kind of seemed like it.
And so you're basically, and there's only like five or six of them.
Yeah.
And so they just all get completely fucked up. The ones that aren't drowned in the destruction of the base, like I just don't understand how they're gonna stretch this out for it to be a full 95-minute movie.
No, I agree, and I mean, make an effort. Not obviously not to see it in theaters, fuck that, but like I'll make an effort to see it, like kind of keep an eye on where it's gonna be coming out on what
Be on the
services.
lookout
Yeah,
for Connor's Spooky
because
Corner.
I am interested. It caught my interest, but I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, I'm not super excited. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes just to see if there's any chance that this is gonna be a good movie.
Oh, all right. Well, do you have more to say about it? Because I'll talk a little bit about 1917 while you do that.
Um,
Or are you already
I
there?
will
You did
say
it already.
just maybe one weird thing about is I noticed between this and Charlie's Angels is that I think that Kristen Stewart is strange has was been strangely looks very much more attractive with blonde hair, and I don't know why.
Huh. Okay. Even like
It's
the
nothing.
short crew cut or whatever it's called.
I think it's a good look for her.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it.
That's that's just my personal opinion.
There it is. What is Rotten
Um,
Tomatoes telling you?
it does not have a score
Hmm.
yet.
Well, we'll never know. We're not going to talk about it ever again.
But 1917 has a score of 90%,
Ooh, see, well, that's
which
probably right.
yep. That would be the reason why there's no consensus because they apparently did not allow for critic screenings because they do not have any critic reviews.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't trust the Rotten Tomatoes critics anyway. What is it to be a movie critic? Just doing this a little better, knowing what you're talking about. I don't buy it. I'm not subscribing to them.
Ooh, bad news. The Grudge is at 17%.
Damn. Well, we
Hold
kind
on,
of
let's
called
go
it.
to the audience. Oh, the audience score is 21%. That's not a good thing.
Is what?
21%.
Oh shit. Well, I don't know. We kind of called it. There was a small amount of hope because Raimi was still involved, but I don't think he was directing. And if he was directing, he fucked up. But yeah, let's talk.
Yep.
Let's talk about 1917, and then let's get out of here. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those movies that's like it's not really up my alley, but I think it's gonna be good. I think it has a compelling story. The visual or the cinematography looks really good, and I don't know. It's like a period piece war movie. I think it's gonna get the job done, and I think it'll be good. I mean, not like super outstanding, but probably like upper tier of good. So like towards great, maybe.
See, I disagree. I think that this has a chance to be the best movie of the year, and they did get it in just under the limitation, so it did qualify for the Oscars this year. I think that 1917 is the best chance at knocking off what, in my opinion, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have heard other people say that they think that The Irishman has a good chance of it, but I think that 1917 is. It just looks like it's going to be well shot. It looks like it's going to be tense, gonna just instill those emotions in you with the way it's shot and the way that you're going around. The suspense that comes with every second and the tension that comes with having to reach that point at the end, because they're trying to save one of the main characters' brothers' lives, and it's just tension, it's suspense, it's a war epic where you have to deal with trench warfare and a race against the clock. Just I'm very interested to see how Sam Mendes pulled this off because he's demonstrated uh, he has the potential to do something really creative and something really cool with this, but I'm just not sure. I'm just hopeful that he does something. Uh, he lives up to his potential on this one.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, you're a little more optimistic than I am, but like I said, those aren't really my type of movies, so maybe I just like inherently rate it
It
lower.
is it is worth noting that it did win best dramatic film.
Oh,
I
really?
believe best dramatic motion picture at Golden Globes last night.
Huh.
Once again, I will check that right now.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say. I do think it'll be good, and maybe it'll be exceptional. It seems like that's what you're telling me. So I would like to see it at some point. This is another one of those movies. Like it's definitely going to be on the list. This one more so than Underwater. Um, but I think I'll enjoy it. But I I don't know. It's not war movies have never really been my spiel.
Yep, the two movies that won best picture at the Golden Globes were 1917 and Hollywood Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Okay. Well,
because Once
damn.
Upon a Time in Hollywood was classified as a comedy slash musical, and 1917 was classified as a drama.
Well, damn. This things are looking up for this movie.
Yep. So, is there anything else we'd like to add before
Yeah, I don't think so. We can save review corner for later. We're running kind of. We spent so much time on Star
recommendation
Wars.
corner?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I,
In that case, we'll just do our typical summary, our fun little wrap up. So I think that I will. I'm not gonna. I might be controversial in saying this, but I will go out and on the limb and say that this new Star Wars, because of all the problems I had with it, it's trailer trash.
you know, I saw you were going there, and I wanted to disagree with you, but I think you're right. Um,
I
there's
think
just
that it is basically fine, which is the concern because that's where I classify most Star Wars movie as being fine or worse.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's entertaining, and this is the only one of like the new trilogy that I think I wouldn't mind like watching again. Um, but I agree. It's not ready for the red carpet. There's just too many mistakes with that, the story, the overarching story, the intermediate details. Like so, there's just yeah, it like I said earlier. At face value, it's good, but you dig any you take a little trowel and dig a little bit, and it falls apart.
Yep. Very, very hollow on its surface. And then if we want to go through the previews we just sort of rushed through, there's Like a Boss that is most certainly not ready for the red carpet. That's some trailer trash. And so is Underwater.
Yep.
Underwater, also trailer trash. The
And then 1917 is
1917,
apparently ready for the red carpet. That question's been answered for us. So
yes, as it has won an award on
yeah,
the red
already.
carpet. Yes.
Oh well.
The strange part about being an award season is that a movie that hasn't been released hasn't gotten a wide release yet is just kind of there.
It's already winning.
Yep.
All right, well, cool. Thanks for listening. You can follow us on Twitter, RCTT Podcast. And then Ian, you want to talk about your other podcasts?
Yep, I finally published the first episode of Stereotopical, where we discussed healthcare, and then we just recorded the second episode on the current state of West Virginia, and then also listened to the Fade the Public podcast, where we did a special decade in review episode there as well, and we also did a college football bowl game special.
Sounds good. That's some good shit. And until next time.
Until next time?